Hmm? Oh, hey Zed.
Gilbert, I have something rather important that you should know about.
What's up?
You do recall your commentary that you made on Smartass Burb, right?
Well, I posted it just a few days ago.
Well, do you know about the user known as IlliniGuy34?
Oh god, don't remind me.
I'm sorry for reminding you, but I only do so because he's involved in this.
What's he involved in?
This.
What? But he's not even the guy commentating on me.
That leads to the important information I was going to tell you. You see, DHT recently posted this.
Oh god.
I will just leave you to it.
Hey guys, Space Guru 5 here, back again to make another commentary. I've been rather busy these past few months, haven't I? Well, anyway, today's video will be about a commentary made in response to my commentary on Smartass Burb. That's right folks, we're going 3D for this one. This video was published by DHT Commentaries on November 30th, 2017, not too long after he made a post on Twitter announcing his production. However, since DHT lost his voice due to an illness, he hired a guest narrator to say his points for him. Will DHT wind up proving a point about my video, or will his criticisms fall flat on their faces? Well, let's tune in to start slicing away. For the sake of brevity, and since my commentary is still available, I'll skip to DHT's points and provide some text to clarify which points on my video he's talking about. Feel free to follow along for yourselves by clicking the I button located at the top right. Now that we have that settled, let's get on with the commentary.
Hello everybody, and I am not Dylan Thomas, and instead this is IlliniGuy34 speaking. Now, if you're wondering why I'm here instead of Dylan, it's because Dylan recently lost his voice. In addition, the points presented in this video are his thoughts and not my own. I am simply just reading them for Dylan. So let's get the ball rolling here on DHT.
Yes folks, DHT decided to outsource the one and only IlliniGuy34 to read his points for him, of all people. It can't be because I blocked him from my YouTube channel due to his behavior towards me and Dan Roxas in my comment section. Of course, I'm just speculating here, but I find it kind of funny that Dylan chose IlliniGuy34 to help him out here after the exchange he and I had in the comment section.
Are you asking, is he really gay or is he really not being oppressed? Because the answer for both is yes. No matter what your views on gay people being oppressed are, it still doesn't change the fact that he personally doesn't feel that he is being oppressed.
Okay, so you're basically saying that because one gay guy doesn't feel oppressed, that automatically doesn't make the other gays oppressed? Because that's what Bird's video was essentially about. Well, I'm gay and I'm not feeling oppressed, I guess it's no longer an issue. I can point to a whole plethora of statistics and news stories that prove LGBT people are still being oppressed here. However, that'll be shared here later.
I love that your crippling autism has made you focus on just one word of this disclaimer, and you even managed to fuck that up.
I like that you like to use the word autism as a blanket term to describe everybody you disagree with, like you're some awesome edgelord for abusing the crap out of that term, but do go on.
As you can see, he said try to be objective. That is not a guarantee that he will not be subjective in this video. Because to be honest, I doubt someone could be 100% objective with this discussion. But at least he said he would try.
Okay, so can you show me proof that you can't talk about LGBT rights in an objective light? Do you mean to tell me that you can't find any infographics or statistics that show the current status of LGBT rights in the USA? Well, I hate to break it to you, but... From the look of things, it looks like LGBT rights still have quite a way to go here. Also, I love how you're willing to excuse Burb's subjective biases in this video with, oh well, at least he tried to be objective. Yeah, that's not how this shit works, buddy. He may have claimed to be objective, but he was still incredibly subjective in his video. Plus, he claimed his points to be 100% factual in his TwitLonger post apologizing for his behavior on Twitter, even though much of it was based on his own opinions. He basically claimed that because being refused wedding cakes isn't poor treatment, gay people were no longer oppressed in the USA. However, he didn't even acknowledge the fact that he knows gay people who were rejected by their own parents simply for being gay after his introduction. That means he also glossed over his own ex-boyfriend Bailey's struggles with coming out to his own parents. How the hell could he claim to be objective after saying shit like that?
Second, if you are going to single out that he said objective, let me point out that he also said that this was a discussion, and he admits in this disclaimer that he could be wrong and would love to talk about it if you disagree with him. But, yep, you sure showed him.
Sure, he did say that in his disclaimer. But guess what? When people did voice their disagreement with this video, he got all defensive and claimed that people disliked the video simply because they disliked him as a person, and he said that the negative criticism didn't properly convey the quality of his video. He also got a bunch of his friends on his Discord server to try and spam upvotes to counteract the downvotes his video was receiving. So, even though he was wrong and people tried to talk about it with him, he wasn't in any sort of mood to do much discussion about it. Then there's also the glaring fact that he deleted his video talking about this, and he stated in his Twitlonger post that he wouldn't delve into politics ever again. Plus, he started blocking people on Twitter when a bunch of people were calling him out on his points and his own bullshit. Well, there goes the whole discussion aspect. I like that your crippling ignorance has made you ignore basic facts about bird behavior on YouTube and Twitter.
Gay people already have the same opportunities to adopt a child that straight people have. By law, gay people have to be given any government benefits that they can qualify for, so I have no idea what you meant here. You know the anti-discrimination laws because you quote them later, so I don't know what you were trying to say here.
So can you explain why only 17 states plus Washington DC allow for full adoption rights for LGBT couples? That means that the other 33 states are either unclear about said rights or just straight up don't allow them to have those rights. You know it's not that hard to look this shit up, right? How could you not know what I was trying to say here? Do you not know what Google is?
And finally, trans people, what the fuck man, we are talking about gay people. You do realize why trans people shouldn't be included here, right? When someone is trans, they identify as the opposite sex, so to a trans person being with someone who is the same biological sex as you is not gay. Because to them, they are a man and a woman who are together, not two men or two women that are together.
Well, I guess there aren't any gay trans people out there. Barring that, I guess trans people don't face discrimination like gays and bisexuals do. Seriously, do you even know how the real world works? Also, how would you know what it's like to be transgender? Are you just assuming that you can speak for every single trans person out there, or are you going solely by what you think is correct in your own mind? After all, you failed to look up any information about LGBT rights to try and prove me wrong. Could I have done a better job with presenting such information? Sure, no doubt about that. However, I can at least verify what I was saying. You, however, can't, so I really don't think you should be the one trying to speak for trans people here.
Now I do realize that if you really wanted to get technical, you could try to muddy the waters by saying, what if a trans female got with a woman, wouldn't that make what he was saying correct? No, it wouldn't, because if you really respect their sexual identity, you would just call them gay, not trans gay. God, you can't even pander correctly.
What the hell are you even talking about? Literally the only thing I mentioned about trans people was the fact that they could be denied entry into military service. That's it. I never talked about what makes a trans person gay or not gay or some other chuckle fuck. You're just focusing on one aspect of what I was saying and trying to argue semantics, in effect putting words into my own mouth. Also, how the fuck was I pandering? I was pointing out just a few issues that still need to be fought for in the USA in regards to LGBT rights. That's the part you just conveniently decided to cut before, by the way. What, so advocating for LGBT rights is now suddenly pandering? Do you not want the LGBT community to be treated like living, breathing people? I only ask because that's essentially what you just told me.
You do realize that not all wars are fought on a literal battlefield, right?
Are you seriously complaining about why I think a metaphor is improper? Man, way to take me out of context there, guy. Yeah, I know he doesn't literally mean an actual war. That's why I said it was wrong of him to compare the LGBT struggle to actual warfare. I just felt that it was a bit disingenuous and a bit exaggerated. I mean, you don't see that many, if any, LGBT people actually physically beating people who don't like them. That's more what anti-LGBT people do. I'm not sure what a more appropriate metaphor would be for this struggle, but I'd certainly use a better word than war. You do realize that not all language is literal, right? And you're the one calling me autistic. I'm done with this point. Next!
Yes, he is no better than the people who discriminate against him just because he said the word faggot. But why do you care that he says it? You do realize that it has offended people like you that continue to give these words power today.
Well, the reason why I care that he says it is because he's directing it at the LGBT community itself, which is really foolish to do because there are more than plenty of actual people in that community that are still hurt by that word. But why are they still hurt by that word? Well gee, I don't know. Probably because people still abuse them by using that word to demean and humiliate them, even today. It's the fact that he's so careless about using that word that makes him no better than the people oppressing the LGBT community, because his usage of it ignores the fact that people still use that word to cause real harm to them. Spoiler alert, the N-word is treated the same way. I also love how you basically accuse me of being easily offended, like I'm some sort of SJW. Well, excuse me for actually giving a damn about these people and for sympathizing with their efforts to overcome their consistent plight. I guess me being sympathetic and aware means I'm an SJW now. Sound logic there, guy. I guess MLK Jr. was also an SJW. Not to mention, there are still plenty of LGBT people who take great offense to the word faggot, so your usage of it like it's no big deal makes you look even more foolish and myopic. See, I even said it there! How the hell did that fly over your head like that?
Care to tell me how it's so bad over here, or why he is wrong?
Gladly. In a grand majority of the USA, the LGBT community doesn't have the opportunity to access rights promised to them by the government. There's the adoption rights things I mentioned earlier, the fact that anti-LGBT legislation is still being proposed, the fact that LGBT people are more likely to be victims of hate crimes than any other minority, lack of legislation protecting LGBT rights, and people within LGBT people's own neighborhoods harassing, attacking, and even killing them. These are really major issues here. So yeah, it's pretty bad here for the LGBT in the USA. Now, the reason why Bird was wrong to dismiss these problems was because he compared our situation to those of Islamic nations. That may have been relevant if he were talking about LGBT rights around the world, but Bird only focused on LGBT rights in the USA and claimed that there were no problems here. That, my friend, is why Bird was wrong, because he used relative privation fallacy.
The way I see it, gay people are protected by the Constitution, meaning they have all the same rights as every other legal citizen in the US.
Well, the way you see it is wrong, because literally the only protection the LGBT community has is through state legislation and court decisions, which can be overruled at any time, like I said in my video. There is literally nothing in the Constitution that specifically states that the LGBT community is protected from discrimination. Sure, there's a section of the 4th article of the Constitution that says that all citizens are entitled to the same rights, but that didn't stop the Jim Crow laws from being passed in the 19th century, nor is it stopping the anti-LGBT legislation still being proposed today. You can stop living in your fantasy world now. There's no way that can be good for your health. Next point, please.
I hate the term Islamophobic, seeing how Muslims are not a race, but instead it's a belief system. Would you call someone who opposes Catholicism Catholicophobic? No, you wouldn't, because it sounds retarded.
Oh my fucking god. Are you fucking serious? You're complaining about a term used to describe fear, distrust, or dislike of Muslims? That's not even a point, you're just nitpicking now. Barring that, do you really think that you can't discriminate against a religion or its adherents? You're more deluded than I thought. Discrimination of specific groups of people isn't limited to race. You can discriminate against someone based on their origin, sex, gender, religion, nationality, ethnicity, sexual orientation, wealth, culture, or even what language they speak. As a matter of fact, you can discriminate against someone for even just being a little bit different than you. That's the main reason why this bigotry occurs, just as I said in the video. People don't like people who aren't like themselves. If you can't grasp the concept that religions can be discriminated against, I doubt that you can grasp the concept that the LGBT community can be discriminated against too. What a real upstanding person you are. A fucking plus.
Let me say this, and I know you won't agree with me. If your culture says it's alright to kill innocent people just cause they are gay, or cause they are not the same religion as you, your culture is backwards as fuck, and I have the right to look down on it cause you are savages.
Yeah, that's really fair to call them all savages, considering that Muslim scholars and practitioners assert that such violence isn't taught in traditional Islam. The only reason why you have these extremists killing people is because they've misinterpreted hadiths as reasons to attack everybody. That's more the fault of certain parts of Islam rather than the whole of Islam itself. So yeah, good job. You may have the right to look down on them and call them savages, but I have the right to call you a racist and an Islamophobe based on what you've said. I know he didn't specifically mention Islam here, but Islam was the example used here, so he at least implied that he was talking about that.
And don't even start with this not all bullshit, cause I don't care.
So you don't care about unfairly generalizing and marginalizing an entire group of people? Funny, that's what starts and perpetuates all this discrimination in the first place. Glad to know you'd rather believe your own bias than facts.
I am not saying it is all Muslims.
Are you really? Because you literally said this, like, just now.
If your culture says it's alright to kill innocent people just because they are gay, or because they are not the same religion as you, your culture is backwards as fuck, and I have the right to look down on it because you are savages.
So you make a complete 180 from that to immediately saying, I'm not saying all Muslims are savages. Yeah, you really make a lot of sense, dude. Don't even try to defend yourself here, because I basically just proved that you don't know what you're talking about. Next point, please.
How does this post make him Islamophobic? Are you telling me it's Islamophobic to say Muslims are killing gay people right now? Cause if that's the case, sign me up, cause it's true. They are.
Well, you see, the reason why I claimed that post was Islamophobic was because he said that only Muslims were killing gay people. Bear in mind, I never denied that Muslims are killing gay people. However, my point is that acting like they're the only ones doing it is clearly indicative of an Islamophobic bias. Now, it's true that Muslims kill gays more than Christians do, but again, Burb acted like Muslims were the only ones doing it, just like earlier in the video. If you're just gonna sit there and assume I said things instead of actually paying attention to what I'm saying, then that just shows me that you're just desperate to try and prove me wrong. Just the fact that you had to literally make up shit that I didn't say just proves that, and it's honestly pretty damn sad.
Just because he is gay does not mean he has to be an advocate for gay rights. Not all gay people think the same, man. It's almost like being gay doesn't change their views on life or their thoughts or opinions. It's almost like they are people, isn't it?
True, being gay doesn't automatically change their views on life or their opinions. But you know what does change that? Being persistently harassed over being gay by other people, in addition to basic rights and freedoms being put in jeopardy simply because some people don't like them for being gay. I know you don't have to be gay to support gay rights, since I myself am not gay, but I'm pretty sure that a group of marginalized people would at least give somewhat of a damn about having rights other people have. Seriously, dude, quit acting like you know what it's like to be gay and oppressed. I myself may not know what it's like, but I at least have the heart to be aware of the struggle and sympathize with their cause. You, however, treat this just like Burb did. Well, I'm not being oppressed, I guess nobody is. Now do you see why I emphasized that Burb was gay?
Yes, he did. It's called a joke. It was clearly a joke and you still chose to take it seriously and attempt to debunk it. Not to mention, it doesn't do shit to prove him wrong even if he was serious, because gay people can still suck dick. Way to go, man.
Never mind the fact that there was literally no indication of Burb making a joke about it. I admit that my approach to that comment was shoddy in my original commentary, but I still have a point to make about it here. Even if he was just joking around, that statement, "you don't deserve more rights just because you suck dick," was incredibly insensitive. He essentially stated that gay people shouldn't have more rights due to something that they can't help or that they were born with, that being their sexual orientation. I don't care if that was just a joke or not. The fact of the matter is that it did more harm than good just by saying that. This just further exemplifies Burb's carelessness when addressing the LGBT community.
Yes, no matter what we do, discrimination and other crimes will still exist. We can't stop people from being terrible, but we have laws in place, and when they break these laws, you will be protected in the US. You will get the same protection anyone else gets. That seems pretty fair to me. Now you can bring up any individual case you want to in the attempt to prove me wrong, but I will counter with this. Our laws are set in place to protect everyone, but there still has to be a court hearing and other people may vote differently than you. So sometimes justice is not always found, but I will insist that we are still the most free country in the world, and you should be proud to live here, and proud of what we have accomplished.
You act as though I'm not proud of what we've accomplished. Yes, it's a very good thing that progress has been made in quite a few states. It's good that the LGBT community is becoming more socially accepted here. Honestly, it's the best. However, when I say that we can do much better than this, I mean that there's still a very long way to go before the LGBT community can have all the same rights as anyone else does from anywhere in the USA. I know you can't stop discrimination and hate crimes from happening. Therefore, the very least we can do for the LGBT community is actually give them constitutional protection rather than state-level protection and court decisions, which, like I said before, can still be overruled at any time. Until that happens, the LGBT community will still continue to have less rights than most other people. And what I'm about is putting an end to that and just making LGBT people equal to everyone else. I'm skipping over the last 46 seconds of the video, it's just concluding nonsense anyway. And that's the way this Roadrunner runs. Even though you intended this to be a critique of some of my points in my video, you tried to counteract my points by bringing up flimsy arguments dredged up from some other world your brain lives in. You couldn't even be bothered to do some extra research on the topic to try to prove me wrong, instead relying on just how you see things, and at times just flat out misconstruing what I was trying to say. I won't say that my video is completely flawless, but I will say that pretty much none of the things you mentioned here were any of the real flaws. This video you're watching right now, however, brings up critical flaws in your video that seriously damage your credibility. To me, you just look like someone trying to stir up drama instead of giving me criticism. That kind of mentality does not a good argument make. That's about it for today, folks. I'm Space Guru 5, and as always, take care.